Hi everyone. Okay, I'm back. This is part 2 of doing the junk trunk kit. So I already posted the first video that was emptying the package, showing you everything I got, the kit to make the junk journal. So what I've done so far, now if you remember, this was already given to us. And this is the manila envelope with it was already had the scores in it for the spine. I just brought mine in about 1/8 of an inch on each side, just so my spine wouldn't be quite as wide. This is about the width I like to work with. Now, as far as the flap goes, what I've done is I glued it down on the back. Well, actually on the outside, like the front outside, but on the back, because I've many times I just find it's in the way, and I don't like it flipping over the front because of the closure I like to put. I need this spot here, and you'll see that later. So anyways, but I love to have this tuck spot. So I've glued this part down, and another thing I've done here is I slid a piece of cardstock, just an old piece, doesn't matter what color it is, inside, because anytime I've made these envelope journals, I like to just have a little more strength to the covers. So I just slide that in there, and this is all going to get sewn. So you don't have to glue it in, it'll stay down after you sew it. So now this is the inside, and there's going to be a tuck in there. So I'm just going to flip it over because in this part we're going to just do the cover. So, okay, so what I've done, I've taken the piece of muslin that we got, and I've cut it down to the right size to cover. I'm putting mine on the outside cover, not on the inside. So I put it here. Now, if you can see on it, it's all little hearts in a very dark blue. And I've rolled all that on the muslin, and what that is, it's a roller that just rolls your pattern on. This here, I used to do pottery, and this is when I do hand building, I had these rollers for that, so it comes in handy here. So it's all printed with little wee tiny hearts, and I've got everything on the side here ready. So one of the first things, I absolutely loved this. So this is going to go on my front. This is going to be the front part here. So this is going to sit right here on the front part. And I'm going to sew all that down together. And then I stamp this. I like to have little sayings. And this is going to go there. And then, what else do I have here? Oh, yes. So I made a little pocket because my, kind of my trademark is putting a little spot for a pen and a pencil on the front, because I always have to have one close to me with my journals. So I made this little pocket and put a little stamp of a heart on it. This little lace was in the kit, and it was actually, hang on here. It was actually a doubled lace, and what I did was I just lifted it off and just cut the pinky purple part off it, and I'm sure I'll use the white somewhere else. Okay, so I sewed that under there. I just did a zigzag stitch. Hopefully you can see that. And this is going to go here. I'm going to just lift it up a little bit when I sew it, so it has a little bit of a looseness to it to put the pen and pencil in. Then, what else did I do here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on pause and sew this stuff on and come back and show you. So I'm just going to show you how it's going to go. If you remember this paper I showed you that kind of looked like a corrugated, has a feel of corrugated cardboard. It's absolutely beautiful. I just made it look vintagey by inking the edges. And for those of you who are new, inking the edges, all you do is you take your stamp pad, and it doesn't have to be a stamp like this. It can be a sponge, anything you want to use. I started out and I was just using this, and that's how I was doing it. I still use this sometime. Anyway, so you stamp your sponge in it, and then you just go around and you just do that, and it makes it look all vintagey. So I know there's a lot of beginners watching, so I want to remember to just add those little tips. This here, after I cut it and after I did the edges, I took some decoupage and I painted it and let it dry, because this paper is going to sit on the outside and I want it to be strong so it doesn't rip easily. So that's what I did with that to make it a little stronger. Now this is going to be a pocket on the back cover, right? So I made this little tag. This is going to just sit, it's not going to be sewn down, but it's going to sit in there. I just wanted everything on the front and back cover to be ready. And this here, I had, this idea came from Irene, who is a wonderful, wonderful lady that I met on Facebook and actually lives, you know, maybe 10 miles away from me. And we've met a couple times, and she showed me this idea, how she made a big tag, 2 sides, and then put paper inside and just sewn it across there just so it all holds it together. And I just thought it was a fabulous idea. So yeah, and so I normally would put like a actually, oh my god, I didn't even distress this paper. Oh well, I'll do something with that after. I was just too excited to get something to put in the back. So this paper was the flower page that came in the kit. I just cut it up and made the tag out of it, put a little reinforcer on each side, and these reinforcers are just white, and they're just the whole sheet of them, just for the beginners. I know anybody who's not a beginner is probably finding it boring, but you just get the white ones from you know, any stationery store or anything, Staples, Walmart, whatever, and you put your stamp in your stamp pad, and you just rub it all over to make them colored, and then you use them like this. It's super easy, and it really, really adds a lot, I find. Okay, so anyways, thanks, Irene. See, I remembered I had put it in my little journal while we were together to remember to make one of these. So I just love that. And this paper is also from the kit. So, and that's going to go like that. These corners came in the kit, so they're going to actually go under. This is all going to be sewn, but these will still show. These will still show just nicely because I tried to fray this as much as I could without going too deep. So it's going to still be a nice little shiny accent. It's going to show on the edges. And this here, to put your tassel or charm or whatever you want to put on the spine, this is going to go right there. And this here is, these came in the kit too, these little pins. I don't know if they're called garment pins or, but anyways, for now I just put a button and that little charm that says, does it say? I can't even remember. I gotta look. Oh, made with love. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it. Made with love. Anyways, okay, so that's going to just be clipped on this lace right there. This here, I used another one of those little pins, and this is going to be put on there. And then I took some of this, I cut some more of this pink ribbon off, and I've just folded it back and forth and whipped it with the thread. I just passed the needle and thread through and then wound it around like this just to get kind of like a semi-flower. And this here, I'm not absolutely sure where I'm going to put it at this point, but I was thinking of, because it's just part of a flower, so it's going to be tucked under, so I don't know, I might put it there. We'll see where I'm going to put it. I'm not sure. I don't want to put it up here because it's going to interfere with the pen and pencil. But anyway, so that's going to be my front and back cover. Hopefully the beginners get a little bit of an idea just how to, you know, get it all set up and see what it's going to look like. And, you know, if you get to this point and you don't like something, change it out. And once you have it all set, I mean, some people will put a lot more than this in theirs. But once you get it all set up, then you're ready to sew or however, or glue or however you're going to put it on. Now this I'm not going to glue. I might just put a little bit of glue in the middles, but I doubt it. I think I'm just going to be sewing it on because I sew all around, and you'll see that when I'm done. So I'm just going to put it on pause, and hopefully the pause lasts as long as it's going to take me to sew all this, and then I'll come back and show you it finished. Okay, thanks a lot. See you in a few minutes. Okay, so I'm back. I've done a lot of sewing on it. I decided to put the little fleur right here, and what I did was I just sewed it right across here with the sewing machine, and then just added these little dangles, and I'll probably add more on there after. But so far I added the pocket like we looked at, and just perfect for my pen and a pencil. Stitched the little Life is Good, stitched the pocket around. That's there. I put the little tassel. This will have more things on it after too. So it's all sewn on, and I just wanted to let you know I did make a mistake. I like to put this little fancy stitching on. I don't know if you can see it. It's like a little vine. And then, of course, I want it to be balanced, so I went to put it over on this side, and then I remembered that I have my pocket here, and I didn't want to sew that close, so I had to take it out. So this is all is going to be covered when we do the inside, so that's fine. So I'm glad. I just had to take the X-Acto knife and cut it off, but thank goodness I stopped when I did. Also, before I sewed this muslin down, I did glue it very, very lightly, glue it, and this glue is one of the glues that I know if you were not an international buyer for this kit, you did get one of these, but I think Jessica was thinking that you couldn't send this over the border, or it would take more time or whatever, but no big deal because I use this glue all the time. I love it. I always have some, and the tip is just really, really small on it, so it's great for fine detail gluing too. And when you do glue any fabric, make sure before you put the fabric to whatever you're gluing it, rub it with your hand. Make sure it's all spread out nice and evenly so you don't have clumps, and don't use lots because it won't stick good. Just a tiny bit, a small little layer sticks wonderfully with a lot of different glues, not just this glue. This is the Tombow Aqua, but even with fabric glue and School, that other white glue, just a tiny bit goes a long way. So this got all sewed down, so I'm kind of happy with it so far. This is it closed, the spine and the back. I love the back. I love this little note card. I'm always taking notes, so I always have little notepads and little writing areas stuck all over the place. Yeah, and the front's kind of cute too. I'm probably going to add a few little things to it after, but for now, to get going, it's great. Everything was from her kit, and so far it's looking good. Oh, one more thing. I was going to put these little corners on, but what happened, the little corners up here, just up here, I was going to put that on, but I tried to, and this is too thin. It got squished, and then instead of being 90 degrees, it went wide open. So I'm going to use it on something else later in this journal. I know, like, this is a piece of chipboard, and chipboard is a fairly thick pressed paper, and they'll fit on here perfectly. And then you just hammer it down. So I'm going to make something else with a piece of chipboard, and I'll use these. Okay, so anyway, that's it. That's the cover, front cover, back cover. And part 2, we'll be doing the inside cover. So hopefully, you beginners out there, hopefully it helped you a little bit. If you have any questions, just put it down, message me down on the bottom. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hope hopefully the veterans weren't too bored. And thanks a lot for watching, and part 2 will be coming up very shortly. Thanks a lot. See you, everybody. Bye.